All right. We're gonna wait everybody to get in here. Give you a couple of minutes. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Miguel Lloyd, Vice President of Marketing and Communications here for the Atlanta Black Chambers, and welcome to Chamber Live. This is our monthly event in which we are letting you know what's going on with the chamber. We're gonna have amazing guests today. We're gonna talk to Dr. Diane Adoma. She's gonna talk to us not only about the work she's doing with our Governmental Affairs Committee, but we're also going to talk to her about her business and the things she's doing. One thing here with the Atlanta Black Chambers, all of us are entrepreneurs. As I mentioned, my name is Miguel Lloyd, and Vice President of Marketing and Communication for the Chamber, but also on Lloyd Media Group. And I'm going to bring in my co-host for this wonderful program, Sister Girl, Raquel. How you doing?
Hey, Miguel, how are you? I'm doing well.
Good, good, good. Of course, you've got not only to talk a little bit about your role, of course, the chair of the Arts and Entertainment Committee, but you also are now taking on an operational role here with the chamber, which you pretty much was doing anyway. But we've made it official. Congratulations!
Thank
And
you.
so also, you got a couple other things going on. You've got your. I'm not gonna mess it up. So let's talk a little bit before we get into the chamber. All the things that you do outside of the chamber.
All right. So not only am I newly appointed Director of Operations for the Atlanta Black Chambers, I'm the chair of the Arts and Entertainment Committee, and the name of my business is Raquel Hill and Company. I specialize in getting people unstuck. I do business strategy to take people and their businesses to the next level. I currently have a client who is running for office. Um,
Okay.
among other things that I am working with, a superhero Syrian Seed, HBCU Superheroes comics. I do their social media.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to stay busy, as well as stay tuned in October. I'll be doing a one-woman show about my journey with breast cancer. So I'm looking forward to all of those wonderful things happening
Oh, you
this year.
gotta let us know when those tickets go on sale, and I'm assuming there will be tickets on sale. This ain't something you're just doing for. All right, let us know when those tickets go on sale. Now you had an announcement, and let's not forget, and I guess it's in your because Biz Savvy is coming up,
Right.
and yeah, you got David Banner is going to be there, so we
So
definitely we have to
yeah,
talk about that. So we missed a month because it's summertime and stuff happens, and so let's talk. Let's get a little bit of a recap. As we will have Dr. Adoma, who's in our green room here shortly. As I mentioned, we got Dr. Adoma, who's going to talk about the work that she's doing in governmental affairs as well as her business. But we're also going to talk to Cory Henry. Cory Henry has a role, and he is an expert in the cryptocurrency space. And so we're going to talk extensively about that. And I want to make sure that we give them adequate time. So we're going to get Dr. Adoma here in about 4 or 5 minutes. We're going to talk for a little bit, and then we have Cory Henry on the bottom of the hour. But let's go ahead and do your recap. I'm gonna go ahead and go to one shot with you. Let you talk a little bit about what's been going on with the chamber.
All right, guys. So it's been maybe we missed a month, so I'm going to go towards the end of June, where we did have our man cave that we talked about. The Arts and Entertainment Committee did their artist cocktail hour in June, and Miguel, in your neck of woods, you can elaborate on it because two of them have happened since the last time we were meeting, and I'm talking about our ABC South Metro Business Network Mixer. We are putting a stamp in the South Metro region of the city of Atlanta, and we are making a huge impact in that area. So July 8th, brand tech webinar we had out of our MCAT committee. My website, Am I Doing It Right, with Derek Harrison came on and talked about how to make sure your website is together. We did tax resolution strategies for individuals and small business owners out of our financial services committee. And then on July 7th, we had our virtual open house where I had the amazing opportunity to tag team with my brother from another mother, our executive director, Melvin Coleman, where we introduce and talk to you about why you should be a part of the Atlanta Black Chambers. On July 21st, we had Greening Your Business and Improving Your Health. We talked about racial inequities in green spaces and how there is emphasis on people of color or Black people, Black businesses getting into the space of greening their business and making their businesses more environmental friendly. Also on July 21st, we had our financial services monthly webinar. We had July 27th, Building Your Dream, which came out of our Training and Professional Development Committee. We went into that, and you'll see later on, you'll be introduced to Cory Henry. We had our first in-person workshop about cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. Cory Henry is very versed in what he's doing in his field, and you guys will learn more about him later. So we had that live and in person at the Russell Center, and then of course we creeped into August 3rd with our second South Metro August business networking mixer that we did down in the south of the city. So that is what we did. And in case you missed it, now you know. At the end of this, we're going to talk about what's coming up. So be sure to follow us on Eventbrite so you get the notices when we post new events, and follow us on all of our social media platforms.
Great wrap up. Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing more from Cory and some of the events we did. We were at the Russell Center. We've been there a couple times. We did the event. Did you mention the one with Matt Coleman and his committee? I think that was that in June? I think that was in June. But we've just been busy. If you're not an active member of the chamber, know that we've got a lot going on. We normally do anywhere between 4 to 6 virtual events. Now that's been our norm since going to this virtual environment. But we also are working our way back into these in-person events. It's important for us, as communal people, as people in general. We want to, kind of get to see each other a little bit and engage a little bit better than doing this stuff virtually. But of course, we got to remain safe. All right, so let's bring in our first guest. As we mentioned, we wanted to have a conversation today with, and what we do at our show is every week we want to bring in not only people who are obviously everybody's going to be members of the chamber. If they're not members of the chamber, they better be pretty dope, and which we've had some pretty good sharp people as well. But we wanted to make sure we bring in some of the folks who are within the chamber who are doing amazing things, not only for the chamber but also for the community. And so this week we've got Dr. Diane Adoma. Let's bring you in, sis. Good afternoon. Go ahead.
Good afternoon.
There you go. There you go.
Good afternoon. How are you?
We're good. Let me take this little graphic out of here because we want to make sure we can see your face good. Oh, I took myself out of there. We don't want to do that.
No, don't do
that. So there you go. You set up. That's good. We got your face. Good afternoon, sis. Good to see you. Good to see you always. And good to see everything that you've been doing here with the chamber. We want to make sure we bring in. You've now been the chair of that committee. Now it's got to be going on 2 years, right?
It's going on 4 years.
Oh my God, it's been 4 years.
Yes.
Yeah, 2020 just got my clock all the way off. I just,
Wake up, Miguel.
It's got my clock all the way off. That whole year went by so fast. So you've been doing some amazing work with it. You've had some days at the Capitol, things of that nature. And so let's talk a little bit about the work that you're doing with the Governmental Affairs Committee and the work that we can engage with.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you, Mikkel and Raquel, for having me today. I appreciate it. And Miguel, it's always a pleasure to talk about what's going on with governmental affairs. And it's not just me, it's us. It takes the entire membership to make this work. So, we started 4 years ago. We didn't have a governmental affairs department. We've built that bridge. And as you know, 2 years ago, actually a year ago, we hosted the largest U.S. Senate forum race that any chamber have ever, hosted or sponsored. And until somebody step up and prove me wrong, I'm taking that slot for our chamber. And in addition to that, Miguel, we've hosted several other forums that have been, and every last one of them have been very successful. We've had great attendance. We've been able to leverage our political power, and we're on the way up. But now it's time to move to another stage. We've worked through all those goals, accomplished those things. But this year, I'm proud to say that we've been hosting the legislative breakfast for this coming year will be the 4th year. That's how I keep track of how long I've been around. And we've had the pleasure of having Senator Emanuel Jones host that event. And last year, of course, because of COVID, we had to have the event virtual. But we're looking forward to going back to in-person, all masked up this coming session. So in addition to that, I just want to touch briefly on the many, many workshops that we've hosted, helping our members get certified to do government contracts. We're doing really good in that. We've formed some very profitable informative partnerships and joint ventures. One of our partners that we work with consistently is the U.S. Small Business Association. Actually, we have an upcoming workshop coming up in October featuring Carol Thompson with the SBA. So I'm extremely proud of what we have accomplished with the support of people like you. You and I have done some things together, Raquel. And I always tell people when they talk to me about Gov Affairs for the Chamber, I let them know that every committee and every department and every program that we have here with our chambers stems from some type of policy or legislation. They're governed by something. Think about human affairs.
Services, yeah. And
yes.
affairs, yeah.
Thank you for helping me out there. No yes, problem. All of those have to, adhere to. And when we advocate, we're advocating for certain policies, but everything is stemming from Gov Affairs. So recognizing that helps us to see how important it is that we stay very focused on not our goals, our personal goals, but on the goals of the Black small businesses who are actually the economic engine of this chamber.
Absolutely. When you talk about the importance of last year, obviously the results of having 2 new senators in the state of Georgia who have been pivotal to a lot of legislation which is going on. But what ends up happening is that a lot of times people start to, those every 4 years, those presidential terms, people get all excited, and then they start to stop paying attention for 4 years and wonder what happened when it came back around 4 years later. And so what sort of legislation right now are you working on? Are you engaged with, committees engaged with? What should we be paying attention to right now that's going to affect us as a Black community and as Black business owners?
That's an excellent question, Miguel, and thank you for asking it. We actually are working on a piece of legislation now that's going to focus on the DBE, the Disadvantaged Business Enterprises. We're going to be looking at the laws that govern that, the federal law, which is 49 CFR Section 26. Been on the books since probably 1964. I think it's been on the books for more than 50 years, where these infrastructure projects are supposed to be setting aside a certain amount of the project to help the small businesses grow. As you know, if you went and did an audit or an accounting or asked for some transparency there, Miguel, that's just not been happening. So we're trying to pick our low-hanging fruit and fight for those resources for the small businesses. I can tell you now that the state of Texas it worked on a piece of legislation, and actually I have a copy of it here that we're going to try to clone and give to our legislators. But the legislation is trying to make it a crime for them not to set those funds aside, because we believe that there are enough small businesses who can, in fact, fill those jobs. And you think about if you got a $40 million contract, if 10% of that was set aside here in Georgia, the feds send the money to the state, and the state has accountability for making sure that that money trickles down to us, Miguel. And that's just not that. If you do an audit, and I know how to do the books, it's just not happening.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any, Raquel, I know you had a couple of questions. I want to make sure you give you time to jump on in here.
No, I just have a couple of comments, just to say, just so that everybody that's watching, so you could just be aware of the committees and the affinity groups that we have here in the chamber. We have people who are knowledgeable in their field. Being a part of the chamber gives you access to people like Dr. Diane Adoma, so that if you're not well-versed in going on in politics, you can ask your direct question, your direct response, and she will let you know how to be engaged so that you are understanding what the people that you put in office are doing for you. So this is good stuff, Doctor.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Dr. Adoma, talk to us about, early on in the year, because it seemed like we went from January, February, March, April, May, June, and now it's August. It's like this year is getting away from us again. I can always look at football season and know that we're getting close to the fall, right? But early on in the year, Governor Kemp signed into law some very controversial laws that introduced a lot of issues that are putting a lot of issues on the table about voter ability for voters, and people saying, well, it's just an ID. Talk to us about your perspective on that law, which was in fact enacted here earlier on this year.
Thank you, Miguel. There's a lot of things in that law. I think with that particular law, first of all, I'll start by saying that one of the things that I think our legislators just totally overlooked, and to their credence, probably was just so busy trying to work on some other components of it. Before that bill went into law, one of the options that the lawyers had was to file an injunction, right? Before. So once, Miguel, once it goes into law, it's like we're fighting backwards. You got to fight it before it goes into law to get that injunction. And that's something that I think they did in some other states, and they're still fighting it in other states with the injunction. So that's number one. We didn't do that. So now we got a harder fight, right? But then from a business perspective, one of the things I'm looking at is, if you're running a business, some of the things in that law, you don't want to take the whole law and gut it for being bad. I believe in looking at the entire law, Miguel, because there are some things in that law, some battles that I don't really think we should be spending our energy on as small businesses. Let me give some examples. Okay. There's only probably less than 1% of the people who just don't have an ID. And I'll tell you why. Because even if your license have been suspended or you haven't paid child support or whatever it may be that you don't have a license, you can still get a state issued ID. I'd like to see us advocate more for letting people know what's out there and how to get an ID so that we can get them to the polls so they can impact, policy and legislation. Right. That's number one. Number two is the water battle. Let me just be frank with you. I stand in line sometimes in Walmart, especially during the holiday season, for hours at a time, trying to pay for, just $50 worth of goods. And I'm standing in line for an hour and a half, right? And I see people in there that are elderly and disabled, et cetera, standing in those lines. So to me, if you know that you're going to need water, take your water with you, do that. And they will have water below. So I say those two things that, this is just an opinion. I would like to see us fight some of the things that are a whole lot more important to us. And let me give an example. When you think about the case down in Brunswick with Ahmaud Arbery. Yes. Mm-hmm. So when you look at that case down there, did you know that just recently, Governor Kemp actually worked with the legislators to change the stand your ground law in Georgia, right? But if you look at the Georgia code, the stand your ground law is part of what? The lynching code. It's part of the lynching code. So in Georgia, when we don't think about that, but something is on the book until it's challenged, right? So we still got parts of that law that we walk around every day that we don't know how important it is to challenge that. So I say all that not to overshadow how important it is for every single qualified voter, everyone that is qualified to vote and eligible to vote, they should be able to cast that vote. Absolutely. But because I come from that finance and accountability field, I'm always of the opinion that, okay, so what do I have to do to be able to cast that vote? And I'd like to see governmental affairs focus more on some programs, getting people the information that they need to get an ID. How do you get your water? How do you do that? And let me give one more thing on this because it's important. When the MLB moved to Colorado, to vote in Colorado, you have to have an ID. Miguel, to vote in even President Joe Biden's state in Delaware, you have to have an ID. So the point I'm trying to make is that we don't want to get caught up in fighting some battles that we may not win, because the early voting laws, and I'll say this with conviction and it's accurate, the early voting laws in Georgia are more liberal than the early voting laws in Colorado and Delaware. So if we're going to fight a battle, let's pick a real good battle to fight, because there are so many things in that law that we could grab and we could fight and we could get some wins. But let's don't get caught up on the things that we can easily control. We can control the ID thing, right? We can control the water thing.
Right. Well, yeah, and I agree with what you're saying. I think that within yourself and members of your committee, help us to find whatever those other things, smaller parts of those laws are that we can engage with. Because, to me, that's, as a marketer, I look at that and said it's easy to fight and get on either side of an argument about water or about IDs, because it just makes sense. But we know that there's other parts of that law that are problematic. And so that's what we want to make sure that we get engaged with our public officials who are involved in this process all the time. That's why they're elected. And if you're not holding them accountable, then that's our own fault. Dr. Adoma, thank you so much for joining us today. And if anyone, as you mentioned, if you are a member of the chamber and you would like to get engaged with the Governmental Affairs Committee, this is who. Let me get my point straight. There we go. This is who you want to connect with. She does an amazing job. She has a great committee, great support, and but she can always use more help. So make sure you guys get
Miguel,
engaged.
Miguel, can I add just one little
Sure.
last thing?
Absolutely.
This year, I just want you and Raquel to know that we plan to be doing endorsements this year.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Well, then there you go, public officials. You have an endorsement to earn. Make sure you make sure you do what you have to do to earn the endorsement of the Atlanta Black Chambers. Thank you so much, sis. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Miguel.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Amazing job, of course, of Dr. Adoma. She definitely knows her stuff. No question about that. And so it's good to have this. But, if people don't know much about the Chamber, we are a committee-driven organization. We got a bunch of amazing leaders in this organization who know their stuff. And so if you find yourself hearing something, the things that you think that you can improve, hey, roll up your sleeves. Let's get to work. There's plenty of work to do for us to continue to make our Atlanta community as a whole, not only just our business community, better. And so that's what we really try to focus on, right? And so let's talk a little bit about what we got coming up. What we got coming up here in the month of August before we bring in our next guest, Cory Henry, as we will be discussing cryptocurrency. I'm really interested in hearing more about that because, as us Gen Xers, because I think we're both Gen Xers. This is one of those things in crypto where there's a lot of work that's being done. There's a lot of commerce. There's a lot of money exchanging hands. A lot of Bitcoin exchanging hands. And I think one thing Cory mentioned last time I saw him on one of our events is that it's not so much about buying Bitcoin now, because Gordon, I can pull up my phone and see what it's worth now, probably something like 50,000 or more per coin. But it's about acquiring coins, and so that's about the extent of my understanding, and that's why we got Cory coming on here right after we had this conversation, because we want to know how we can get into that game. But what do we have going on in the chamber? It is now the month of August, back to school. My kids are in school right now. It's quiet for the first time in a year and a half. I know some of you guys can relate to that. But what else is going on in the city of Atlanta and all the surrounding communities here with the Atlanta Black Chambers?
All right. So for the month of August, as always, every Thursday at 8:30 a.m., every Tuesday at 8:30 a.m., join us on our conference line for our Tuesday talks. This Tuesday's guest speaker is Fulton County Commissioner Chair Rob Pitts. The number to dial in is 218-895-8208, and the passcode is 200 pound, and I will be putting that in the comments. Also, on Wednesday the 11th, we have our financial services webinar. Just stay tuned for our marketing to see to learn more about what's going on with that event. On August 18th, the Health and Human Services is having their event, so stay tuned to hear more about that event. It is called Let's Talk About Overcoming Mental Illness and Social Anxiety Disorder. That is coming out of our Health and Human Services group.
That is so important. That's something I want us to stay on that just for a second, because I think people are underestimating what the last year and a half has done to a lot of people from the standpoint of being isolated, just being scared about what's going on with the viruses, what's going on in our communities politically. People have to turn on the news every day and hear more about January 6th and what happened in D.C. that day. And so to have our committee to focus on mental health is something that's really important. And we as Black folks, stop trying to act like you're so strong you can't get counseling. You lying to yourself. So make sure that you take advantage of that. But I'm looking forward to that event as well.
Absolutely. So just to go back a little bit, the title of our Financial Services Committee webinar is Raising Capital for Entrepreneurs. We have that coming about.
Which is hugely important. That's one of the biggest challenges we have as African American businesses, is access to capital. So great job there too as well from our Financial Services Committee.
All right, and I will be dropping all these flyers and links to join to follow these to sign up for these on Eventbrite. Now, on August 19th, we are having a members-only meeting, which is featuring the USBC, the United States Black Chamber. So if you're not a member, you're going to miss some really good nuggets that go on and that are part of the privilege of being a member of the Atlanta Black Chambers. So that is on August 19th. So for all of you members who are listening, save the date, save the time for 1 p.m. Again, that is August 19th. Now, drum roll, I'm going to pause for dramatic effect.
Why do I have a feeling this got something to do with the Arts and Entertainment Committee? Because we got the drum roll. Maybe. All right, go ahead, Raquel.
On August 21st, 8/21/21, the Atlanta Black Chambers Arts and Entertainment Committee is having our annual Biz Savvy Artist Academy. It's an artist academy where we teach artists, or we instruct artists. It's a workshop, a full day workshop where you will be exposed to how to do marketing, branding, legal information. You'll learn about just putting your team together. Yeah, and our keynote speaker is David Banner. We are really excited that David Banner will now become a friend of the chamber, and that is going to be at the Russell Innovation Center for Entrepreneurship.
That is huge. When I saw that announcement come out, I was like, "You go, Raquel." People may not understand. And here's the thing: for folks who may not understand the work that David Banner has been doing in the community and the work that he's doing as an entrepreneur and as an activist, this is a great opportunity for you to get engaged with that. I'm looking forward to hearing what David Banner has to say. He's amazing. Before we go to Cory, we're gonna bring Cory in here. We got some great comments that are coming, and this brother is, oh Lord, I don't want to mess up his name. His name is Sadiq Munalafia. Oh, I'm sorry, Sadiq. Forgive me, my brother. But I love this comment. To me, from here, listening to the programs at ABC is more informative than listening to any of the news outlets. ABC's activities are all about the community, and that's more important. Thanks, Dr. Adoma, for the talk about the Georgia voting laws. My brother, thank you so much for tuning in to Chamber Live. Make sure you tell a friend, and he's actually coming to us live from Nigeria. So the Chamber Live is reaching Nigeria. All right, so let's get ready.
We're international, Miguel.
We are international. We are international. That's amazing. So let's get ready to bring in our next guest. As I mentioned, we've got Cory Henry. Cory is a friend of the chamber, and he's actually a friend of ours as far as the Lloyd family, because he is also a West Pointer, just like my wife. And he's also a member of the greatest fraternity in the world. So I had to get that one in. You straighten up your face real quick. Member Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. So he is also the chair of the Georgia Government Blockchain Association. He educates blockchain professionals in that space. He also has a program called STEAM, which is focusing on educating our children. Without further ado, let me bring up my man, Cory Henry, brother. What's going on, man? How you feeling?
It's good. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you fine. Absolutely.
Okay, good. I'm down in sunny Florida with my family, visiting my mom and my father, but I never miss an opportunity to be on with Miguel and Miss Raquel and the Atlanta Black Chamber. I'm home, but Atlanta is my home as well.
Absolutely. I'm glad. Is this the first time you've seen your parents in a while? Is it one of those situations with COVID? Oh man, that's great. That's great to see. Oh,
yeah,
the sound is. There we go.
So it's good.
I would say we lost you for sound, but I think we're good, man. That's good to see, man, because I haven't seen my dad in about a year and a half. My kids went out there, actually, but so I'm about ready to make another trip. But let's jump into this cryptocurrency conversation. You did a great event. I believe that last one, Raquel, was it a members-only event with Cory, maybe about 2 months ago? No, so it is live on our Facebook page. We do so much content, so it's sometimes hard to keep up. What did you say?
Right.
Go ahead.
It was in person, so members get a discount, and other people are welcome to come in and participate. So it was.
But we did do a virtual event, didn't we, Cory? About 2 months ago.
Yes, we did. You're right.
Okay. Because I didn't get the in-person event, but we can never have enough conversation about this, because most of us are still in awe of this world of cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
And so talk to us a little bit. I'm just going to shut up for a minute, because I just want to hear, just your elevator speech on crypto, why it's important for us to start to get engaged with this community, because, we a lot of us are 10 years behind the game.
Yeah. So I'll speak slow, because I know there might be a bit of a lag, and I want to make sure that this is captured properly. Cryptocurrency is just one use of blockchain technology.
Mm-hmm.
And as we look at everything that we've discussed here, from voting and governance to access to capital and using collective capital to ignite small businesses, to communication and the sharing of information amongst and beyond our community, all of that will be affected by blockchain in a major way, in a very transformative and disruptive way. As we look at our arts and entertainment and hearing words like NFTs and
Right.
how they're going to totally reshape the way that we do intellectual property and intellectual capital. Uh,
Corey, don't gloss over that NFT thing, man. Give us for people to know, to have no idea what you just went over. What are
well,
NFTs, if
you
you
know,
understand?
I like to use these buzzwords because we hear them
Yeah.
kind of in our language, but we don't really process what they mean.
Right.
But a non-fungible token is just something that can't be recreated. It has a unique signature.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so right now, if
And
you
it's digital. And it's digital.
look
Correct.
at $1
Yeah.
and you look at another dollar, they're no different. But
Mm.
if you look at a painting and you look at another painting, they are totally different and totally unique. And
Mm-hmm.
so each one of those paintings would be represented digitally by a non-fungible token, right? And you can create multiple that token. But each one of those represents one of how many, right? One of a
Mm-hmm.
thousand, one of 100,000, and it allows artists to bring value forward into their lifetime
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because most art appreciates in time that is beyond our life, right?
Right. Right.
If you look at Picasso, if you look at, Rembrandt, their value, but most of them died, relatively poor because they weren't able to pull that value out of the future into the present. So non-fungible tokens allows an artist to spread the value that he creates or she, and then allows a community of people that believe in that artist the way that people believed in Basquiat when he was a young artist.
Mm-hmm.
And but they can hold on to their value even though they buy into it. So they don't have to sell their access to that property. So it's just a different way that things will be distributed from an intellectual property rights and rights to music, rights to people like Elvis and Prince and Michael Jackson. Uh, those generations that live in the now will be protected differently by these new blockchain technologies, and
Yeah,
it'll
even in athletes, with the new name and likeness initiatives that are going on with college athletes, they're even
be
having the ability now to get into NFT business. But let's get back to the blockchain piece and get back to what is the
yeah,
everyone's talking about but don't understand
yeah.
Bitcoin, crypto, all the other different coins that are out there, and kind of what we need to know to get into that game and start to trust the opportunities that are there.
Yes, I think when we talk about cryptocurrency, and it's good that we have a basic understanding of what um, it is a digital asset, and it has been recognized by the United States Treasury as an asset that can go on a bank's books, right? So
Mm-hmm.
this is about banking is about a ledger, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a ledger that has to be kept with extreme certainty.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we hire the best accountants to work at the biggest banks. So those ledgers are how banks are able to transfer money from bank to bank,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's from state to state or internationally or from even local bank to bank. It's all about the ledger.
Mm-hmm.
So what blockchain has created is a more accurate ledger, a more distributed ledger, and it's a immutable ledger because each chain is tied to the previous chain. So it goes all the way back to the exact first chain. So once something is written onto the blockchain ledger
Mm-hmm.
and it's distributed across all of the nodes all over the world, it can't be unwritten. And that's important in banking, that's important in ledgering, that's important in voting, that's important in the transfer of assets. And that's why it can be considered a money because it's that important,
Right.
right?
Right.
That important that we are able to transfer that information in that ledger because now trust can be distributed. it doesn't have to be farmed out to certain authorities. That trust can now be sent directly from me to you without any third party. And that's why it's a money. And that's why it's something that we believe in as an asset to transfer value.
You
So,
mentioned one of the times I've heard you talk about this, about with the cost. Bitcoin is what, I know you probably know off the top of your head. It's probably above 65,000 maybe, or something in that
it's in
ballpark.
the 40s right now. It just cracked over the 40s
Okay.
recently. It went down as low as the 20s.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
but it's
So,
back up.
but it's obviously costs a lot. Costs a lot of money to acquire a Bitcoin at this point.
Yep,
But you talked about, well, it costs money to buy a Bitcoin, but now there's an opportunity for you to find a marketplace to provide your products and services and accept
absolutely.
Bitcoin as a way to acquire
Yep.
Bitcoin. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, and I said in the event, and I said this, to acquire Bitcoin is to require Bitcoin. And the best way
Mm,
to acquire digital currency is to require digital currency. So it's, you know, it's serendipitous that we're talking inside of the Atlanta Black Chamber, because this is a chamber of commerce. This is where
mm-hmm,
professionals come to exchange their ideas, their expertise, and they have the biggest opportunity to acquire these digital currencies because of what they know and
mm-hmm.
because how they distribute what they know. And so they choose to accept cash, they choose to accept fiat, they can also choose to accept digital currency and to accept other forms of community currencies that will allow us to exchange value in a different way. In previous generations, that wasn't possible, but that's not the case today. It's possible for us to have an Atlanta Black Chamber currency. It's possible for us to have, a church currency or a HBCU currency or
Mm.
just a general community currency that we accept as value between us.
Right.
And
That makes perfect sense. So for some of the folks that are out here, and I want you guys, if you have any questions or comments for Cory or any of us here, drop those questions if you're watching us on Facebook in our comments, and we can see it. Both Raquel and myself, we're monitoring that. So if you are a consultant and you're being paid, obviously there's a lot of us who exchange ideas, exchange our expertise, and we're looking for different exchanges, and we just look at like, okay, well, I'll go ahead and I'll charge somebody $150 an hour for a conversation. But you can also, that could be a way for you to say, okay, hey, here is an option.
there you
Yeah, I'll
go.
consult with you for, if you were to kind of do a dollar for dollar, if someone's charging $150 for, because I'm trying to help people to understand. I'm trying to understand myself. Let me just not act like I'm an expert at all.
Yeah.
If I'm charging $150 an hour for a consultation, how would that equate to a Bitcoin or some other Litecoin or some of the other ones that are out there? What
Yeah.
would be your thought on that?
I think as I think about um, 2010, and in the year 2010, on Christmas Day, Bitcoin was 25 cents per coin. So let's just say you, Michael Lloyd, had a $500 media gig.
Mm-hmm.
But on that particular day, you felt froggy and decided to take that $500 media gig and let them pay you in Bitcoin, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 500 divided by, I don't know, 25 cents. Let's just call it, you would have got 1,000 Bitcoin, right?
Okay.
Let's
Okay.
call it 1,000.
Okay.
Now, right now, that same 1,000 Bitcoin times $40,000
Mm.
will probably have you somewhere around 400 million for that same media event. You see what I'm saying?
Wow. Wow. So
So
it is just math. If
it
you say
is math.
if your hourly rate is $100 an hour right now, and Bitcoin is trading at 40,000 or something dollars per Bitcoin, then do the math, and that's what you
You do the
that's
math, you make the exchange, you hold on to the value for a later date. Because now we in Atlanta have to think about the generations to come after us.
Mm-hmm.
And, we're just young enough and just old enough to where we could ride out the rest of our lives just using dollars, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. But our children won't. They don't have that luxury. And we have the opportunity in our generation to grab a lot of these first generation tokens
Mm-hmm.
when in their lifetime, Bitcoin may be $1 million a coin,
Wow.
And as we think about $40,000 a coin
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
potential for it to be $1 million a coin, we owe it to the generations behind us to make sure that they're not locked out of access to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness just by us being complacent or even resistant to the inevitable change.
So the bottom line is, guys, and it's hard for many of us. And Raquel, you got some questions? Let me know. I'm gonna kick it to you. But we are definitely in a place right now where it is really at a point of just people accepting the currency. And then the
Indeed.
more people accept the currency, the more you have the ability to buy and exchange goods, whether it be a sandwich or car, just based on what you're willing to accept with the two people who are making the transaction. And so that's, I think, is the biggest hurdle for many of us to get over. Is saying, okay, so I'm gonna take this Bitcoin, and I want you to talk before I kick it to Raquel about the purse, because you need a Wallet, a purse wallet. I think it's called a wallet. I went to a coin purse in my mind because I was thinking about Coinbase. So Coinbase is one that I hear a lot of people use that as a wallet. But talk to us about the importance of even starting with that part of the process of acquiring a wallet.
Yep. And let me first plug the Atlanta Black Chamber. We have our monthly wallet parties at the Russell Innovation Center for Entrepreneurs because it is a hands-on experience. For people who have never done this before, you'd rather have somebody, hold your hand through the process of downloading your wallets, what wallets to get, and almost like welcoming somebody on a fishing boat for the first time. You know,
Mm,
you got to
mm,
get the sea legs under
yeah.
you to truly trust the process. So come to those wallet parties where you learn about different wallets, learn about second party authentication, learn about the
Mm,
security features that are necessary to protect your assets. Because
mm-hmm.
we don't want you in here if you don't know how to protect it. You
Yeah.
know, I'd
Yeah.
rather you just not do it than to do it and not protect it. So, in that regard, I say there are many good wallets out there, but what's more important is having good people to guide our friends and family and constituents into the right way to be not just in the game, but protected.
Raquel, you got anything as we're looking at some of the comments? I'm looking at some of the comments. Got a good one here.
Yeah, so one of the things that I was thinking about when we think about exchanging Bitcoins for goods and services, like a scenario like accepting a fraction of a Bitcoin as a retainer while you accept cash as the, for the actual product and service, so that the Bitcoin, you would hold on to it as your retainer, and say you made all your clients give you like a fraction of a Bitcoin until you had a Bitcoin, you would have this, $40,000 worth of Bitcoin kind of accumulating while you're still charging them for your goods and services up top. Like, would that be a scenario that you would suggest?
Absolutely, I recommend multiple ways of acquiring, and if you want to mix in, because some things you still can't get with digital currency,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
and for those things, and you need fiat, I say do it. But if you have the opportunity to take your tip and digital, if you have the opportunity to take, your retainer and digital, whatever portion of your profit that you're willing to set aside for the future of your business, I recommend that you work that into your business plan.
Or even what you just said, like, what if when you get a tip or you got something over, you take that and you invest it in Bitcoin yourself? And that could be a thought process as to how people can build their Bitcoin or their cryptocurrency base. So later on,
What
we're going to talk about your event, but the wallet party that you're having the last Tuesday of every month at the Rice Center. Is that
Yeah,
uh, okay?
yes. And
And
it's
that's
a hands-on experience. It's high touch, it's high experience. It's high information. And we want, especially the Atlanta Black Chamber, the Black business community, to be a learned community in this space, not just situationally aware, but fully understood and recollect the value, because the current system that we're in is obviously not a winning situation for us, you know?
Yeah, I want to pivot to STEAM here in just a second, but talk to us about the role you have with the state of Georgia government. I believe you have a role in the blockchain space there, and how you acquired that role.
Yeah, the Government Blockchain Association is a global organization that is here to work with governments to understand how to use blockchain. So in the future, law will be, uh, I guess, distributed through distributed ledger technology. And a lot of these case laws and a lot of these if thens will be smart contracts. The same with medicine, the same with, most manufacturing. So as these things affect governments, the way that we vote, the way that we, determine uh, the pulse of the community, the Government Blockchain Association is there to make sure that the government has uh, committees very similar to the Atlanta Black Chamber to study issues and see how it can be used and to work on pilots and things of that nature.
So,
So
yeah, I'm
for
sorry.
the state of Georgia, I'm the chair,
Mhm.
and we're here to train people in how to get certified as a blockchain professional.
Yeah, looking at the clock, we want to make sure we keep everybody. We got about 5 minutes left for the show today, but I wanted to, before we go, I did want to talk about your STEAM initiative. And before we do that, Miss Shalonda Zachary has been very engaged. We appreciate you in the comments. And so she mentioned, this is good. Cobb County and KSU, assuming Kennesaw State, are already having a conversation with students. Of course, they do not look like us. Our youth needs to know as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Shalonda, for that comment. So before we go, let's talk STEAM and the important science, technology. What's the E?
Engineering.
Engineering, science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics,
Yeah.
and how important that is for our kids. I had a brain fart. So let's talk a little bit about STEAM before we go. And I know the word arts came up when we saw Raquel's pearly whites, because that's her thing. But let's talk about how important STEAM is in your work in that space.
Amen. STEAM Revolution is our nonprofit organization. We founded it on the 50th anniversary of Dr. Martin Luther King's assassination, plus one day, to change the way that we looked at how we educate, how we empower, and how we, build our kids as far as the workforce of the future. And so, the best place to put the A in STEAM is in Atlanta, and we feel like, that's where this is really going to cultivate our transition from the previous 400 years into the next 400 years into the next millennium. And I think this is where the phoenix will rise out of us. So as we master science, as we master technology, and technology is business, right? You don't need technology if you're not transacting business. But if
Mm-hmm.
you are transacting business, you can't live without technology. You know,
Right.
as we look at engineering and the role that it will play in how we change, how we move, as this city is evolving, and how we transport to and fro, mathematics and the role that they play in everything that we do. We are STEAM. We are literal manifestations of STEAM. So, this is the cultivation of us. And I think blockchain is going to be one of the first real demonstrations of what we can do when we are unchained, when we are, unrestricted in the way that we transact between each other. And so STEAM Revolution is here to just kind of connect and show what our kids can do inside of a very big hole in the American workforce, and that's technology.
Cory, man, we appreciate you coming on and taking some time away from your family. I'm glad you're out there enjoying that, and obviously rich information. And so the last Tuesday or Thursday, did you say, is that you're at Russell Center?
The last Tuesday of every month. The
And
last Tuesday of every
what's
month.
the time of that event?
6 o'clock. We start off at 6:30, but we open doors at 6 o'clock.
All right. Well, we make sure we lock you in, and then I'm assuming that's probably something that's on our Eventbrite every month, so people can register and come check out that event. Cory, man, I appreciate you, my man. Always good
Thank
to see
you.
you.
All right,
All
take
right.
care.
All right. Peace. All right, man. We had a full show today. Great guest, great input, great insight from some amazing people, and that's what we do. Before we get out of here, well, you make sure we want to plug Eventbrite. Eventbrite is a good place for you to always stay connected. If you follow us on Eventbrite, you'll always get those little alerts that will say there's a new event that just popped up that the chamber has just scheduled, so you can go ahead and register. Tell your friends. You can go and become a member of the chamber. Remember, there are some things. We do a lot of things that are open to the public, but then there are a lot of members-only events, and they're growing. We're doing more members-only events because membership does have privileges, one of those being the USBC, United States Black Chamber event, which is coming up. Anything I missed, Raquel?
Yeah, just real quick, I want to plug a couple, just 3 more events. On the 26th, save the date, the professional training committee is having a leadership seminar or workshop. On the 31st, we just talked about Cory's event. September 1st, be on the lookout for a panel coming from our YEC, our Young Entrepreneurs Collaborative. So if you are 35 and under and you want to join the Atlanta Black Chambers, we have a spot for you. And also, I just want to tell you guys to save the date. It's not happening until September 30th, but the Women's League is having their 2nd annual Cocktails on the Course. So we will be talking about that in future Chamber Lives, but we just wanted to give you guys a heads up because I'm thinking, yeah, by the time when we do the next one in September, we will be talking about the Cocktails on the Course. And also, again, just be on the lookout for events that are coming out of the Governmental Affairs committee, such as mayoral forums and forums for the different people who are running for the different offices. So,
and real quick plug, because the Cocktails on the Course will be going on in the South Metro, which you'll be down south. I won't have to drive. Well, I ain't invited anyways for the ladies, but for the women who are in the South Metro, who have connected us through the South Metro, and that being Henry County, Clayton County, Rockdale County, Fayette County, and down here. So you'll have an opportunity to just drive over and avoid some of that traffic and enjoy the Women's League. I tell you, every time we have an event, we just had our monthly networking session at Pseudos here in the South Metro, and I always tell them, we got all these committees, but if you are a woman, you are a part of the Women's League. So make sure you connect with the ladies of the chamber. There's some amazing work that is being done within that chamber, led by Michelle Glover and her committee. All right, great show. Great show, great content. Thank you, Dr. Diane Adoma with the Governmental Affairs Committee. Thank you, Cory Henry, for all of his information on the blockchain world, and as well as STEAM. And Raquel, thank you as always for being the glue that helps this chamber keep moving, and reminding me, Miguel, Chamber Live's coming up. What's going on? Much love to everybody. We appreciate y'all. If you miss any part of this broadcast, it's going to live on Facebook. Make sure you share it with your friends. Thank you to some of our folks who were in the chat. Shalonda, Zachary, we appreciate you. There's also a bunch of links here on some of the events we got going on. Mr. Sadiq out of Nigeria, we appreciate you tuning in to our broadcast. It is time to connect with our motherland and the business owners over there in Nigeria and Ghana and some of the other countries over there as well. So we appreciate you. Spread the word over there. We look forward to hearing more from you and any of your business associates over in Nigeria. God bless. We'll talk to y'all next month. Peace.